Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is July 2024. We're in Cave City, Kentucky, very close to Mammoth Cave National Park, and we're actually in the parking lot of Diamond Caverns, probably one of the more impressive show caves not named Mammoth Cave in this area. And yeah, there's the kind of gift shop entrance area. If you look through that window right there towards the right, you'll kind of see some stairs and a little box. You literally enter the cave through that area, through that building, which is cool.
Dedicated to the history of show caves all over the world. And on the walls are posters from various caves, overseas as well as the United States. And then above them are all signs, mainly the United States, but not all the United States.
Are those authentic?
What's that?
They're not authentic, are they?
Everyone is authentic.
Really? Wow, okay.
We only deal on authentic stuff, except for me. I'm the only one. This is Floyd's Rock.
Wow,
I don't know whether you're familiar with Floyd Collins.
that is
Getting trapped in the cave.
a bit of the Holy Grail thing I was hoping to catch.
99 years ago. And it'll be 100 years next February.
What do you
That's
think?
the rock. The paper said it was a 7-ton boulder. And that's a bust of Floyd. And that bottle was found in the cave with him. There's a record of the ballad of Floyd Collins. And some books there, contemporary books. It's interesting, in 1925 there was 3 contemporary books that were put out to try to gain publicity from the accident, of course. And on the recent Thai rescue with the 13 soccer kids, there was 9 hardcover books put out in the first year.
Wow.
9.
And it's amazing to see the rock.
That's
It was
the patina from people touching it. They let people touch it when you went to Sand Cave. And the cave, they says a photo of people in front of the cave holding a baby. It's not the baby, it's the rock. Before the bottomless pit was crossed. So there wasn't much of the cave before that. And here's some souvenir plates made in Germany on the cave. Very pretty, delicate plates. Yep, here comes my next group.
no.
Yeah, and how about that? That was a brief introduction to the National Cave Museum. That was Gordon Smith, who is basically the caretaker of this wonderful attraction. For what it's worth, this is not open all the time. You need to give him a call and set up a time to come and visit. But it's definitely worth it. There's no ticket. I was not asked for a donation even. But I had to call Gordon, and it took us a few months to get on the same page. He travels a lot. In fact, he travels internationally, and he's not always there. By the way, this is a little item. Check out the little note on that. This is one of those things that I didn't know was here, but once I got here, I thought it was very cool, and it was appropriate that it was here. That was a box that carried, the engagement ring for Colleen O'Connor Olson, a lady I never got to meet. She was a guide at Mammoth Cave and wrote several great books about Mammoth Cave. And you should buy every single one of them. They're all good. They're all very accessible. Your young nephew in elementary school can read them, or your grandfather can read them. And she contributed greatly to the history of the caves and the cave area, and I thought it was cool that they had that among all of these other great items. Again, I wanted to mention Gordon Smith. You got to give him a call and set up a time to come to the museum. It's worth it though, and like I said, it's right literally a few steps away from Diamond Caverns. A great way to double up on seeing 2 cool attractions. We go down to Mammoth Cave probably once every couple months. And sometimes we don't even see the caves. We just go hike around. And, we always try to hit Big Mike's. There's a great Mexican restaurant in town I like. A couple of nice coffee shops in the area, too, now. And just a lot to see. Not only do you have Mammoth Cave and their great visitor center / museum and all of those tours, seven or eight other, show caves are open in this area, plus the National Cave Museum. And again, wasn't asked to buy a ticket or even donate any money, but yeah, you can just kind of come in and check things out once you've scheduled your time with Gordon. And there was another family here while we were here, and I think they were interested in doing some research. There is kind of a big library area, and they were looking through some books and some specific stuff. But yeah, I like this kind of thing. I like the old souvenirs that you might have bought at a show cave. I think this stuff is great. And of course, the main attraction that we saw there at the beginning, the Floyd Collins rock. It's something I've just, if you watch my other videos, you know I'm very interested in the whole story of Floyd Collins. If you're not familiar with it, you need to be familiar with it. Cave explorer, caving by himself. He's caving, and I always think he's pretty much stuck in a hole 70 feet or so underground. That rock catches his leg, and he never returns to the surface alive. And it's just an interesting story. That cave and his final resting place are just a few miles from here.
This is the original saltpeter kettle. There was 3 of them, one on each side, and the other 2 were melted down during World War I.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you.
For the war effort. And this was in a farm over in Brownsville, in a farmer's field.
Oh.
And we retrieved it, and the museum owns it. You should have been here to help us. The day we put this thing in here, you should have been here to help us.
I'm gonna lift that sucker in place, yes. Put that thing away.
A hell of a lot.
I like your fire.
Yeah, I always try.
Yeah, that's fun.
For heat.
And as you can see, there are some interesting relics here. I could definitely see this museum growing greatly over the next few years. It's pretty cool, but yeah, I might even have a few pieces in my collection that, you look around and there's some cool stuff, but there's definitely room for some more interesting items. Every time I visit a cave, and I visit quite a few, I always like to buy. I love the gift shops. I got to pick up a patch, a hiking medallion if they've got one. Usually pick up postcards. I especially like the vintage ones, the old linen postcards that look like little paintings. But yeah, I love this kind of thing. I love the jackets with patches all over them. I have a backpack that I've put a ton of patches on, and it looks really nice. But obviously these are cave related, and I think that's pretty cool. Very appropriate place for this museum. Of course, if you go to Horse Cave, their cave, part of their combo ticket, you see their cave, and then they've also got a really cool museum, which also has some Floyd Collins items in it. And I think that's just amazing. Of course, if you study caves, if you're up on caves, especially Mammoth Cave, that name Floyd Collins is all over it, and that rock is just such a legendary item. I came back to look at the little box that had the engagement ring in it again. I thought that was very sweet. I mentioned I do have all of her books, and through eBay and those sort of sources, I do have a few that are signed. I've got some that are not signed, and that kind of bothers me. But I'll keep looking. And some more cool items from caves, and then of course there is Floyd Collins' head. If you know the story of Floyd, he was literally on display at one time, and his body was stolen from a cave. His leg was never found, but they did recover his body, and that's again, I could go on and on about that. When Ronald Reagan visited Mammoth Cave, this might have been in one of Colleen's books. I can't remember if it was one of her books or another source, but Ronald Reagan started singing the ballad of Floyd Collins. Mr. Smith told us that we are coming up on the 100th anniversary of Floyd Collins' death. By the way, there's that library I mentioned. and they are going to bring back the Floyd Collins the musical that has been shown a time or two. I have never gotten to see it. I am very excited to make a point to hopefully catch it in 2025, and hopefully they do some justice to it. By the way, in the bathroom here at the Cave Museum, they had some framed comic strips with cave references and things like that, and I thought this was great. I took a ton of pictures. I love this sort of thing. I know there was even talk at one time of a Floyd Collins movie. Yeah, a couple have been made many, many years ago, but I think they were talking about a major production sort of thing, and it looks like that never happened. But it should. It's such an incredible story, and just a fascinating, fascinating story. Anyway, there's the National Cave Museum. I just wanted to put up a quick video for people to check it out and hopefully get the word out about it here in Cave City. If you've been there, let me know what you think. If you're a fan of caves, I'd love to hear from you and hear what you think about museums like this. I think it's great that it's so close to Mammoth Cave and Diamond Caverns.